All right, welcome back, everybody. You might notice a couple different things on today's episode. Firstly being that we are in a different location. Obviously, we film in a public space, so we had to switch it up a little bit this week. We are in the workshop, as they call it, and we are joined by a very special guest. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much. So my name's Carla Hernandez. I'm a registered dietitian. I've been in the health and wellness space for about 15 to 20 years, and I've worked in it in a variety of capacities, everything from private practice to corporate wellness. I've worked for health tech companies, and now I'm currently in the media space. So wow. I work with health food and supplement brands to craft messaging to their consumers, but using like evidence-based messaging. So as an expert in nutrition, companies hire me to pretty much provide credibility and visibility to their product.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. So what does that necessarily like entail then when they're like reaching out to you to like explore your services?
Yeah, so a lot of people ask that. So, you have the traditional like social media, like, make us a reel, highlight this product, talk about why it's good for you, highlight the nutritional benefits. But really the biggest difference between just like an influencer and me is like, I have a degree, I have a license. Yeah. Like I actually have like
you're bringing like a proper level of training
and expertise
into that.
in it, right? Which is why they pay me to do that, right?
Totally.
So you have that kind of level, but then other companies are looking more for like internal work. So if I wanted to grow their healthcare practitioners or to get those kind of clientele in for their products, or providing webinars or making content behind the scenes. So it's not always me in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is.
Yeah, totally. I can imagine.
So you do a whole bunch of other things because like the way you described in the beginning is what a lot of actors and models do now. It's called the UGC stuff. It's the brands will reach out to you. Would you mind shooting this and send it back to us and we'll pay you for it?
Yes.
Now, when you get approached by brands, how many of them do you actually say yes to, and how many do you actually turn down because you're like, I really don't believe in that cut, or what is that like?
Yeah. So, only being in, I would say, the media space in probably the last 2 years, it's difficult because when you start out, like you're like, no, I don't want to say no.
Yeah, totally.
But you also want to protect your reputation. I'm putting my name out there as a dietitian, and I don't want to rep something that I truly don't believe in. So I would say probably about half the brands I say no to, and half of them I'm really excited to work with because either I use them, I believe in them, there's science behind the product, because it's a tough game out there when it comes to supplements and health foods.
Yeah. Well, also too, because like I'll get approached by brands and be like, okay, would you like to do this? But I'm like, now I have to sell something that I don't use.
Right.
And when you try to sell something, it doesn't come off as like legit.
It's inauthentic.
It's not authentic at all. It's like I'm trying to sell you some, hey, would you like some like insurance, some prepaid legal insurance? For what? It's like, why would I sell insurance to you? But I've done stuff, and it's too, because it does show on camera.
Yeah.
When you're promoting stuff on camera that you believe in, it pops, and people will believe that because
100%.
I don't believe half the stuff I see.
Yeah.
There's a brand that I see all the time now with this beef tallow. There's like a few different ones with beef
I think
tallow.
I know what those are.
And actually, someone had sent me a screenshot of like, hey, does this stuff work? I'm like, what are you talking about? So I don't know the brand. I don't know if it's one of these beef tallow brands, but I did a video in the garage here, just like a few years ago, and a brand took my image and used it in their thing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what the brand is. A buddy might screenshot it, but doesn't see the brand on top.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that also is a thing too. These brands will steal your,
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful with that also.
Yeah, I've luckily, I fell into this whole area because I actually took a course, like a media course,
cool.
for like clinicians and health professionals. And one of the biggest things that they were saying is like, make sure you have everything in that contract. Oh. Because if anything falls through, happens, whatever, you're protected. So that is like half of my work with these brands is negotiating and contract reading. Sometimes I feel like a lawyer.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But it's good because you want to protect yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you got to be, I remember back in the day, photographer, hey, would you like to do a photo shoot? Sure, sign this release.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, it's that whole idea of like, it becomes so easy to say yes, but like you were saying, right, where you want to, book as many things as you can. You want to be involved with as many different things as you can. But, there's definitely like proper lanes to fill and channels to take. Yeah.
The best way to do it is an agent. Agents will look over contracts. Agents will make sure you don't get screwed.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I did one a long time ago, naive, signed this release, guy paid me $100. Next thing you know, someone's like, oh, I saw you on the cover of a Remington beard trimmer.
Oh,
I'm
dang.
And I got nothing for it.
Yeah.
My agent at the time was like, let's go after him. Did you sign a release? Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing you can do at that point. You signed off on it.
Yeah, I signed off on it.
Learning lessons.
I don't sign no releases anymore because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's just through an agent.
Yeah, you're like, send it to my people.
Exactly. I don't mess with that anymore.
Very nice. Well, so Carla, you also have your own podcast.
I do.
Which was one of the other reasons that we wanted to bring you on and kind of chat with you today. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of how you got into that, space and what that process has been like for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a women's health podcast, given that I'm a dietitian. That's kind of my specialty. And I do it with a colleague of mine and also a friend. And she's a nutritionist as well. And we kind of cover all the areas of women's health. So emotional, spiritual, physical, relationships, political stuff that are going on right now.
Okay.
That's kind of
hot button
hot
issues.
topics.
Yeah.
I know.
We stay off political on this one.
We tread
don't
lightly.
Mess around with that one.
Those are the most seen, though.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We don't
Yeah.
mess around with those.
Good or bad, clicks come in. Yeah.
So it's great because with her, I've known her for about 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, a long time. I used to live in San Francisco. That's where we met. And we just always have had these like really engaging, deep conversations and quite funny too behind the scenes. And we always joke to ourselves, we're like, if only like we recorded these and people would hear us and just like get inside our heads and our thoughts. So finally, last year I had an insane year in terms of just like loss, like job, home, relationship, family stuff, like everything just kind of crashed.
Yeah.
And, when I was let go from my full-time job, I really took some time and I'm like, what do I want to do? I don't want to just jump into another full-time gig without really being intentional and being thoughtful about the next step. And one of those things that popped in my head was a podcast.
Yeah.
And I reached out to my friend, I called her and I was like, hey, I think it's time. So we just started looking into the process. The one thing that I did not want to do or be responsible for was the technical side.
Super fair.
And I knew that.
Super fair. That's what we have. That's what we have Martin for.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that was something that we hired out for, which
Nice.
is great. And then everything else was just like the fun piece,
Yeah.
Getting topics together, content, finding guests now. So it's a really fun process, but so much work.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. And what is the name of your podcast?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I got you.
Yeah, it's Girl Talk Decoded.
Girl Talk Decoded, okay.
Essentially, we just wanted something that really represented like our unfiltered self.
Yeah.
And obviously because it's women's health. So yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome.
I was watching some clips and I saw that you actually had a doctor on there.
Oh yeah.
Like, how did you, talking about Ozempic
Yes.
and stuff like that, how did you reach out to a doctor? Like, did you know her personally, or how did that come about?
So just being a clinician, like I'm very well connected in the healthcare space, and I work with a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses, a lot of dietitians. Like we all kind of run in the same circle. But then I also am in a group online that with a lot of other doctors and healthcare professionals, I should say, that are also in the media work. So she was one of those that I kind of just like wrote a post. I was like, hey, I'm looking for this specialty. As long as you're a clinician, like we'd love to have you on our podcast. And it's amazing how many people actually respond.
Yeah.
Just wanting to get well known or wanting to like be involved in the conversation. And it was really easy, actually. It took maybe 15 minutes and that was it. And then it was just emailing, figuring out a time. But, she's a wonderful person. She's a gastroenterologist and she's also specializes in women's health. So it was like perfect. But it was great. And then my last company I worked for was actually a metabolic health company, and so I have a lot of experience with Ozempic as well. Not prescribing, but working with patients on Ozempic. Mm-hmm. So I think the conversation was just really well fitting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm curious about that one because I feel like Ozempic is such has become such that thing, right?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, especially in LA, I'm sure it's the case elsewhere as well, but especially in LA, I mean, you could throw a rock in this town and hit half a dozen people, that are using it for weight loss. And so it's like grown into this whole, like, it almost has like a cult following now, I feel like.
Oh,
but not
yeah.
in a good way.
No, not at all.
It's like in a bad way. You see these celebrities who look like what happened to you? Yeah. Like your face is like all like this, your body's skinny. Mm-hmm. It's like, I mean, obviously it works.
Yeah, it
but
does
there's a fine line of like using it as a prescription, but then overusing it because you're a celebrity and you can get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what these celebrities are doing. They just keep taking.
Yeah.
And then it's just like you get to a certain point and you're just like, okay, that's a little bit too much now.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound like a bit of an idiot here because I'm very unfamiliar with it, but what was its like original intended purpose for? It wasn't weight loss, right?
No.
Correct. Yeah. No, it was diabetes.
Oh, interesting.
So that was the original creation of Ozempic, and actually the brand Ozempic is still for diabetes.
Yeah.
There's Wegovy is actually the other brand that's made for weight loss,
Okay.
but for some reason people are still taking Ozempic. So there's a lot of different types of the same drug, just different branded names, and then the FDA clears them for specific conditions.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know so little about like that whole kind of like world and everything, so it's really interesting to have you on and like get to actually kind of like break that down a little bit further. Yeah. And then as far as like your podcast, and it's you and your friend, and we were talking a little bit before we started rolling today about how you guys kind of like film and record it.
Yeah.
Which is so so different than our traditional setup, right? We have usually 3 guys on a couch.
Yeah.
Today we're on stools.
On stools.
And obviously we have you here this week. But I'm curious because you said you guys film all of it from like virtually, right, on your computer.
We do.
Because you live far away from each other.
Correct.
So what's that process like, and is it hard like communicating through a screen as opposed to in person?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
This is my first podcast where I'm in person, right?
Super fair. Super fair.
So I've only been doing it in front of a computer, and I think it's worked out fine. I'm so used to like Zoom meetings and everything like that. It feels so natural now, unfortunately. That's like the organic way to go for communication, for work for me.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I work more in front of a computer than I do in front of people, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So, but no, I think it's good. The dynamic is still there. You get your technical issues with like the Wi-Fi and like the camera not doing, its job properly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but other than that, I think it's good.
Oh, totally. I mean, we definitely have our fair share of technical difficulties as well, from cameras getting unplugged when somebody walks by and it shuts down the whole recording session, or whatever it might be. But yeah, no. So I'm just curious about that because this is the only podcast that I've ever been a part of, and we've only ever recorded all 3 of us in person. And so
that.
like hearing from your side of it, I'm so interested, about what that process has been like for you.
I wish we had the opportunity to do it in person.
Totally.
I mean, I can already tell like the dynamic is very different. It is. There's no replacement for being in person.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, so you guys maybe thought about like not doing it all the time, but get together in person and maybe shoot a few episodes in person to have different dynamic with that?
We have talked about it. The thing is that she lives in Tahoe. I'm in Los Angeles. It's a drive, and I'm not sure if it's really worth it right now. I think a lot of our listeners are more so audio than actual video. Yeah. So for now, who knows? In the future, things may change as we increase, audience and finances. Who knows?
Totally.
Sky's the limit.
So you say your podcast, it's a women's type podcast.
Yeah.
Now, men that listen to it,
Yeah.
what kind of tidbits can they learn from
I love
watching
this question.
Girl Talk? The world, this Girl Talk.
It's a great
tells
question.
you right there,
I know. The title kind of throws it off for men. It's a great question. We've actually played around with the idea of having topics like once a month specifically for men, so they can understand like a woman better. And when I say a woman, we're talking about like more health stuff, So I think that would be awesome. We would love to have like a man guest on, ask questions. We're so open to this. If you guys want to come on.
It's a dangerous game to play.
I don't know what to ask.
You don't even know.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't know what I don't know. Like,
That's
I wouldn't even really
interesting.
know where to start. Yeah, I mean, I could probably, come up with a handful of questions, but they might honestly make me sound, very
not really,
unknowledgeable.
because you know what? How about like, why do women have 90 things running around in their head all day long? Guys have one. You guys have 90.
Because their brain power is more impressive.
I don't know.
I like his answer.
I can't multitask at all.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question, and I mean, do you actually want me to answer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
curious
Okay.
because when people are in relationships, like with Cindy, I got 90 things going on in my head. I'm like, she goes, every woman's like that. I'm like, really? Guys, we don't know that. I'm like, that's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't really talk from like a scientific point on this specifically, but from like a woman's standpoint, I can say that we juggle a lot. We multitask much better than men. And we carry the load for the most part. And I'm not even talking about myself, right? Like someone who has a family and children and a full-time job and all of that and doing the groceries and doing the cleaning, like typically that falls on the woman. So they constantly have to be thinking about 100 things at once, where typically, stereotypically, I know this does not fall for every man, but stereotypically, the man doesn't carry all those things.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think just evolutionarily, like that's typically how women are evolved to behave and to think and to survive. Like we just have to take care of shit.
Nurture.
Totally.
Yes.
I mean, I think,
Yeah.
like even just like stereotypically, the roles of men and women, right?
Yeah.
Women,
Exactly.
it's you cook, you clean, you take care of the kids, you take care of the house, right? You do all of these other things. And for men, it's that you go to work.
Yeah.
It's one, right? Men have one, women have this list of things.
Yeah.
And
But
so
now
well,
it's
yeah.
completely flipped nowadays.
Yeah.
Women, want to work, want to make money, want to travel. A lot of women nowadays don't even want to be in relationships anymore because they'd rather travel.
Yes. I think
that's what
I think it's
heard.
at least case by case, but yeah.
Case by case, but that's what I've heard that,
Yeah.
I heard that the white picket fence is gone.
Yeah, no, that's for
They said-
sure.
I just
for
saw it,
sure.
I heard that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's not that women they don't not want to be in a relationship, but they want their partner to step it up emotionally. Like they want them to take care of more stuff. They want them
is
to
that
be
where
present.
the word vulnerable comes in? I've heard that word before.
That's
It's
hilarious.
part of it, for sure.
I should be on your podcast.
You
'cause I can learn a lot.
Oh, I'm sure we can all learn
I
a lot.
love these questions.
Yeah, I'm sure
Keep
we
them
can all
coming.
learn a lot. Yeah, so do you have, I guess in that sense, right, do you have like some ideas or topics that you guys have touched on that you think, because I know that our podcast, the three of us are all men. I believe most of our viewers are men as well. Is there some little bit of advice or a little bit of like knowledge that you've gained in your career that you think that more men should be privy to and aware of? I'm sure the list is
man.
long, but
I was just thinking that. No, it's a great question. I would say just that women are, because we carry so much, our hormonal system is very different than men.
Yeah.
Our bodies are very different than men. Our world that we live in is made for a man, not for a woman in terms of like physiologically speaking. And we carry just more stress typically, and it affects us more. We're much more delicate with our hormonal system.
Yeah.
And so I just want men to know that. And because sometimes they're like, oh, women are so too sensitive, or, she's like making a big deal out of nothing or whatever. And a lot of the times it's not just emotional, it's literally physiological for us.
Oh, okay.
It's just how we're wired, and we go through a lot every month.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we know the obvious one,
Well, yeah.
but that affects so many more systems in our body. It affects our energy, it affects our mood, it
Yeah.
affects everything, like our ability to, have a relationship with our partner, to show up for our friends, everything. So I would say just really understanding that we are not made the same, and we require different needs.
Yeah, totally. No, I think that that's really well said. I mean, I know some of my best friends are a pair of girls that live down in Orange County, and I don't see them as often as I would like to, but you know, we get together every now and then. And it was funny. The most recent time we were hanging out, one of them had asked me. She was like, "So you just wake up every morning and you feel the same?" And I was like, "Unless I'm sick, yeah, pretty much, you know." So yeah. Well, I think that we need to start wrapping it up. We're almost at our time limit. Yeah, I thought. Immediately you made me think about that. But yeah, so we usually wrap up these episodes with our moment of gratitude, like I was telling you, and I would love, for the guests to kind of provide that one this week. So if you don't mind, take us away.
Absolutely. So I just have a quick little quote that actually just within the last few weeks I found, and nice. It really resonated with me. There's blessing in the breaking.
Ooh.
So that really hit me because, as I kind of mentioned a little earlier, I had a really tough year last year. Yeah. Everything kind of fell apart in my life, and it broke me. It really, really did. And I think just recently I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm starting to see the blessings through all of this, and I'm starting to see that we can't really grow until we break.
Totally.
And so for me, that's something right now that holds true.
Wow, that's awesome.
Small words, but a big meaning.
But huge meaning. Yeah, huge meaning. All right, well, that only leaves one more thing, Fred.
All right, well, first, before we do that, plug your podcast.
Yes.
Plug anything you want to plug, and then I can close it out.
Sure. Yep. So Girl Talk Decoded is our podcast if you'd like to follow us. Again, Carla Hernandez, registered dietitian. My colleague is Mary Vance, who's a certified nutritionist. You can find us on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Perfect. All right, and this is another LA podcast, and what you need to do right now is you got to like, comment, subscribe, and eat the smash burger.
And we'll see you next week.